We're on. Welcome to the Front of House podcast.
Hey.
What's up? I'm your host, Henry Nickerson. I'm with my co-hosts here, Alison, Loases.
Yo.
And David Kaliton.
That is my name.
That is his name. Oh, yeah. We're here to talk about different front of house stuff at Improv Asylum Theater in Boston, Massachusetts. All of us live there. We're recording right now out of the North End, Boston.
Yeah, we all live within a 1 mile radius of our workplace.
Some of us live real close.
Real close. And then it's sometimes very far. But yeah, we wanted to get this going, talking about the different things we encounter as ushers at a professional comedy theater in Boston, which I think Boston's kind of an underrated comedy town.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think a lot of stuff is going down. It's maybe not New York or LA, but it's a funny place to be.
We got good stuff. There's a lot of theaters open up too. Like recently, there's been a lot of theaters that have.
We had to have the unfunny people's perspective. We had to get the front of house, the people who are not paid to do comedy.
Oh yeah. So yeah.
I guess let's explain what Improv Asylum is for those people who don't know. So Improv Asylum is an improv comedy theater located in the basement of a CVS.
Oh yeah.
Only the best, only the classiest.
Yeah.
Never gets hot, never smells.
We do everything from ushering to bartending to managing. They're all professional comedy shows. We have two of the main professional casts. The first one is the main stage. Those are the head honchos. Those are the big mommies and daddies of the theater.
The A-team.
The A-team, yeah. Then we got NXT, which, this is how I always explain it to customers. I call it the JV, but I feel like it's an underselling.
The B-team.
No, I feel like it's underselling because there's so many people on there that are really, really funny.
Yeah, that's arguably the most competitive aspect is because so many people are trying to get on NXT to move up to main stage.
Exactly, yeah. The theater we work for, Improv Asylum, it has a whole system where you go through classes. You eventually start doing house teams, which there's like 4 to 5 house teams where they perform once a week. And then you audition for those main troops, NXT, the main stage.
Yeah, and I would say it's like a pretty big jump going from house teams up to NXT and then an even bigger jump from NXT to main stage, just as far as competition goes.
Oh, yeah.
There's really very few slots open on the main stage, and once you're on, unless you want to leave, you're good. Yeah,
you're there for as long as you want.
It's like having 6 popes, but they're allowed to curse on stage.
They can just once they're in, they're not going to get out unless they're like, what is his name, Benedict? Or no, who's the one that left? The Pope that left, Benedict, right?
Pope Benedict, yeah.
I don't know. I'm not a good Catholic boy like you.
I was born in 2001.
But basically, once you're on until you find something better, and a lot of people do end up finding better, bigger, cooler opportunities, and often takes them out of Boston.
Oh yeah, but yeah, we usher every night for those main stage shows. There's how many shows do we have a week? We have 1 on Wednesday, 1 on Thursday,
2 on Friday, 3 on Sat, and
that's
1
8
on Sunday.
So that's 9. We have 9 shows a week.
I'm not good at math. I work at an improv comedy club.
Wednesdays and Sundays are NXT. The rest are main stage.
Right. 9 shows a week. All of them are about an hour and a half to 2 hours. You should come if you're listening to this for no reason.
Yeah.
If for some reason you're listening to this and not part of the theater, you should go. So David, walk us through what are some of the responsibilities of an usher?
Yo, that feels like a setup.
What are ushers supposed to do?
It's not a trick question, David. What's our job?
I guess I have to know that. There's a lot of mopping. There's a lot of, I would say, people skills are some of the most important thing you could have. But you're supposed to generally mop the theater, clean the bathroom, sweep the stairs, take out the trash, tell people where to sit, keep a straight face when you get yelled at. It's all very important.
We're basically like customer service janitors.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think of it as like hosting a party, but like you're the one with anxiety who
You're the one
needs to
that
clean.
You're the one that doesn't get to have fun.
Yeah.
Ushers roll on staff because you're never supposed to not like the. We're the people you're supposed to not like in terms of like if you have to pick anyone who you're gonna have a problem with, it's gonna be us.
Yeah, and I'm okay with that.
Yeah,
we're the front line of shitty
human
patrons and customers. Yeah.
Yeah, I would say It's like hosting a party, and not only are you the one cleaning up, but you're also a little bit the fun police. Like, you're the ones kind of like, hey, you're getting a little too rowdy. You're like,
yeah.
Hey, you can't actually scream during this part. You can only scream when they ask you for suggestions.
Yeah. If there is a mess that is so disgusting that no one wants to touch it, that's
an
the
Usher,
word.
That is RMO rated.
You've seen It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia?
Yeah.
The Charlie work?
Yeah.
Well, everything we do is Charlie work.
It's what gets me out of bed at 1 p.m. every day.
It's a close-knit group, though. I mean,
we started a podcast.
That's how you know.
That's a good like lead into how we all got started. How did you end up here, Henry?
Me? Oh, geez, I just stumbled in off the street now. I've done improv since I was in high school. Actually, my brother was on the improv troupe. He was a couple years older than me, and on my high school improv troupe. And when I was in 7th grade, I saw one of their shows, and I was like, oh my god, these guys must be like the coolest people in high school.
These guys fuck.
I was like, God, I didn't know
cool
improv.
Fuck the football.
I didn't know about this improv thing. These guys must be so cool. So I ended up, being obsessed with improv, doing it throughout high school and college. And I was eventually wanting to move to New York after college to do UCB classes.
Just tell the people where you're from.
Oh, I'm from Kansas. I'm from Kansas City originally, and from Kansas City, I went to college in Rhode Island though. But I was back in Kansas. I wanted to move to New York, but COVID happened. UCB, Upright Citizens Brigade, that improv theater got shut down. So I moved to Boston, not knowing there was an improv theater, and I just kind of lived here, really bummed out for 6 months. And then I saw randomly on like an Instagram ad that I was hiring, or that they were doing classes, and then I met Mitchell, which he'll be on this podcast, I'm sure, soon. He got me a job. The rest is history.
Nice.
There it is.
Yeah,
Ever since I've been shoveling shit. And
I remember
loving
you
going
just walk into the theater and just everyone would be like, "Oh, that's the guy that's trying to get a job."
Yeah.
You would just pace around the theater. Like I was at the front of the doors to the actual theater part of the building, and Henry, a patron, was like standing next to me.
And my story is similar to Henry's, except I think I was a little more aggressive in my approach.
No, we were similarly aggressive, but I think you were you just got in there.
I'm a little more
there.
extra, yeah.
You're more extroverted too. So
and I did get more drunk on the nights that I was there.
You're the only two people that has ever worked for is coming down.
You know
really?
what?
And
Well, the thing is, I pretty much I think there's only one job I've had in my life, and that I didn't get from just walking in and asking if they're hiring. Pretty much every job I've ever gotten is just asking people if they're hiring.
That's so funny because that's what like adults try to tell you to do, and you're like, "Mom, I'm not going to bring my resume to their corporate
Well, that's what my
office."
mom tells me to do to get a copywriter's job. I'm like, I can't walk into an office building and do that.
My
Mom.
dad used to
I can
drag
walk
me to
into a
Stop
dumpling
and
shop and do that.
My dad used to drag me to fucking Stop and Shop and be like, "Go talk to the manager for this bagging position." And the manager would just look at the two of us and be like, "Apply online."
Why are you here?
So anyway, yeah, my intro to IA, so I moved to Boston from Miami, basically right before the old pandemic.
Not to interrupt, IA, that's short for Improv Asylum.
Oh, yeah,
I feel like
yeah,
that's
if you're
something
on
we
the
say without thinking about it.
If you're an insider, if
You're a front of house.
Front of house.
you wouldn't get it.
By the way, front of house, that name is where it comes from, is that's what they call the bartenders, the ushers, the managers.
It's front of house staff.
Front of house staff. Okay, sorry.
Yeah, how dare you?
I hate to mansplain or man interrupt.
Oh wow.
No, interrupt me more.
Already.
Okay, I'm sorry.
For our listeners who can't tell, Henry's a white male.
I think they could tell from us starting a podcast. I think that was the main giveaway.
It's what the world needed, okay? Is another one.
Another one.
I'm brave. Okay, sorry, go
Alright,
on.
this is gonna be the one, guys. I moved to Boston from Miami.
Just wait 1 second.
I actually have to go. I don't think I want to do the podcast anymore. In January of 2020, I moved to Boston from Miami, and then pretty much right after that, the pandemic hit. And I would say I was similar to Henry, kind of like bummed out, not really like experiencing what I thought I was going to find. Hadn't really discovered theater comedy stuff yet. Like, I didn't come here with that in mind. And then one day in very early June, right after a really difficult breakup, I cut my hair super short and I bought myself a ticket to a show at IA because I was like, I don't know, I just think I need to take myself out and go see something funny and like laugh alone. And like, I don't know, maybe I'll meet someone. But no, I didn't. Spoiler alert, I did not meet anyone. But I went to my first show and pretty much instantly was like, oh my fucking God, this is where I need to be. These are my people. I don't know if you guys remember the main stage cast used to do an improv structure where they would take two people's cell phones from the audience.
Yeah.
And on the first night that I went, I was one of the two people. And they read on stage, like, I was texting a friend that, fuck Bumble, fuck Hinge, fuck Tinder. I'm just going to start going out alone, and maybe I'll meet other single people. So, I don't know, it was just such a fun environment, and I felt, like, very at home pretty much immediately. So then I got super weird and started coming back to shows, and my line literally was, I will be here every week, whether you pay me or I'm buying tickets.
It's like almost a threat.
And once you get to know me a little more, you'll understand why that is kind of a threat. But yeah, I hung around and got drunk, and pretty much, I think my third time showing up and saying, like, please, for the love of God, let me clean the bathrooms here.
Yeah.
Tori, our manager, was like, you know what? Show up tomorrow wearing all black. And the rest is history.
Because you were like every other patron that would, I'm going to apply for a job here.
Oh, no,
and
I
in my
meant
head,
it,
I was
though.
like, why don't you shut the fuck up and keep walking?
Yeah, a lot of people talk big game about wanting to be ushers, but I feel like I know them when I see them. I know who really means it.
You get a good vibe from people that want to be ushers.
Yeah.
If you're listening to this and you want to be an usher,
Don't suck.
yeah.
You
Also,
have to be
congratulations doing enough research to get to this.
Yeah, wow. You're in a deep hole right now.
Just show up to the theater and start harassing us.
Moral
Than
of the
the
story.
actors.
Also, a side comment. I think Alison, you do have the distinction of having one of the most, and I mean this in the best way, one of the most entertaining love lives. Because you're very open. I mean this in the best way. You're very open about being single and everything, and it's very relatable. I love the
I think it's part of the reason why we all got so close is because, like, I don't know if that's necessarily natural for everyone on staff, but you were a big personality, so like, all right, let's open up, let's get close, let's talk about what's going on in our lives.
Oh yeah, I would say I'm like an aggressively open book. Like, I don't know if you wanted to read this, but you're gonna fucking hear it.
an aggressively open book.
So yeah, I think we'll get into our favorites later, but yeah, people here know me very well.
Oh, yeah.
Very intimately. What about you, David? How did you
well, it's a blood journey for me.
It's a blood. I fought my way
Yeah.
here.
It was violent.
No, so the first thing everyone knows about me when I enter the theater is I am actually related to the owner. Because, in terms of nepotism, I'm quite literally his nephew.
Shout out Norm.
Shout out Norm, because he needs
Daddy
it. Shout out
Norm.
Norm.
He owns both this theater and Laugh Boston.
And
the stand-up.
Improv New York and a bunch of other... He's a great guy.
Yeah.
But yeah, so he basically one day when I was 16, 17 was like, hey, you need a job and you need like a low minimum wage. You want to clean my theater.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, my dad just dragged me in a Stop and Shop. So yes, I do want a job. And then so that was when I was a junior, so that was what, like 2018, 2019.
Wow.
And so I've kind of just been here ever since. I used to only work 1 day a week, but now I think I'm the longest tenured employee.
You are.
Other
That's
than
crazy.
Tori.
That's insane.
You started a week before her.
Yeah, I think
You
so.
are officially
week
our
before.
oldest, in
Yeah.
that sense, oldest employee.
Yeah, and I'm generally, well, when Julianne's here, but I'm the youngest person on staff.
Hey.
What is Tori's official title now? You'll hear that name. It's our official. Is she general manager?
AGM, Assistant General Manager.
Assistant general
Yeah.
manager.
And then above her is Pablo, whose title I don't actually know what it is right
I
now,
just
but he's
assumed
kind of
PM.
like the Wizard of Oz. Just
Yeah.
inspires fear in the most incredible way. I say
Like
that.
He's
good
everywhere,
leadership
man.
way.
I'm
yeah.
terrified of him.
I tell you, that man asks you to do something, you'll do it.
Yeah.
You'll do it.
He's interesting because he does come off as intimidating, but he's pretty funny. Like
Yeah,
I've
he is.
he's
you
a
read
funny
he's
some
quick
of
with
the
it. Yeah, he's good. Don't
anyways.
fire us.
Don't fire us. It's funny, you came to the theater just Norm being like, hey, you need a job. Whereas, like, and I think Alison was the same way as me, where it's like, when getting the job was like, our mental almost stability was dependent on getting this job.
Oh yeah, I was about
Like-
to enter a dark place.
Like, I need a win in my life, and this job needs to be it.
I wasn't doing anything on Saturday. I didn't have friends. I wasn't doing anything on Saturday night. So, and then so the pandemic hit, and then we were closed for a little bit, and then I came back as one of the only 2 ushers. And then as time progressed, you guys got hired and everything like that. So yeah.
And I would say pretty quickly, not to gas ourselves up too hard, but I would say pretty quickly Henry and I became like part of the core team.
Yeah.
A team, if you will. And the stakes are high. We are talking about cleaning bathrooms and stages, but we are the best at what
we're
the best at what we do.
We're the 3 ushers that are there. Like,
We
we're
work
the
the
ushers
most
because,
shifts, yeah.
Mitchell's a manager, but, there's 4 of us plus Tori, so about 5 of us that are really there almost every single night.
Every day,
out of the week.
core team, I would call it.
Yeah. But we have a whole host of amazing usher friends and friends of the theater, bartenders that hopefully we'll get on here to talk about ushering and other dumb stuff.
Stuff that doesn't fucking matter.
Yeah.
It's real life or death stuff.
It's life or
It's
death stuff.
different from any other podcast.
This is all about high stakes here.
What I do think you immediately will get a sense for from this theater is like, these are people who choose to spend almost every single night of their week, primarily the fun nights, like Friday, Saturday.
Yeah.
I can't remember the last time I wasn't working on a Friday night or a Saturday night, and that does come with its sacrifices, right? Because your normal friends are getting older and working like 9 to 5s, and that's when they want to hang.
Even for me, I was doing this in high school. Like Fridays and Saturday nights are generally when people do stuff.
Right.
Like, I was sacrificing at least one of those days a week to come in here.
But with that, what that means is everyone we work with, really fucking loves it here.
Yeah.
And that is like the best thing about working with this group of people is like, for whatever reason, dumbass improv is the thing that they decided they were gonna like really give their all.
It's there's something about improv. I mean, like whether you do it, like Alison and I do it. David, you've done a little bit of it, but you haven't.
I took because I missed the first one, and then I showed up to the second class of Kelly Dooley level 1 improv asylum class, and then didn't come back because my school schedule didn't work out with it. But
I feel it. But I mean, improv is one of those things for some reason or other where it's like when you see it, you're either gonna immediately be like, "Oh, this is kind of really fun and awesome, and I want to watch it or do it," or just be like, "This is dumb as hell.
Yeah.
Why would people want to sit through this?" And then, to be fair, when you're doing improv, sometimes you're in the middle of a scene, you're like, "Why do I do this?
Yeah.
I feel awful up
Generally
here
the
right now."
bomb.
Dude, would you say most of us are like creatively inclined at the very least, even if we're not directly trying to get on stage doing improv?
For sure. I mean, David, you make a lot of paper mache things.
Oh, yeah.
You're
With some sticky notes at box.
Yeah.
I do. I get
You're-
creative with it.
you're
Is
great at
paper mache
rolling.
code
You can roll a paper mache snake like no one else I know.
Hey.
It's impressive.
It's what I do. Like, it's not like there's anything in there. I'm sitting there at box office and my hands need to do something.
I want
That or
us
make
to.
programs.
I want us to go around. I want us to talk about what our biggest pet peeves with patrons are, because we don't want to sit on this podcast all day and just slander patrons, because we're not here for that. But we are here for that a little bit, and we want to talk about some of our pet peeves with patrons or with not coworkers, but like certain things we do in the theater or something like that. Do you guys have one already?
Sure, yeah, I'll start. I'm gonna say I'm gonna preface this with I love all the patrons that come down there, but some of you fuckers really just know.
I will say it takes a certain type of person on the outset to agree to come to an improv show because for the average person on the street, for some reason there's a belief that it's like they're gonna like attack you in the theater or something. Like, so it takes a certain amount of bravery. So even if you're annoying in the theater, I respect that.
Yeah, I'm gonna say, and this is gonna make me sound really petty. And if you're a patron, like 90% of the chance, there's a 90% chance that you've done this before, and I don't know why it bothers me. But if you come in and you're like anxious about front row, and you're like, they're not gonna pick on me, are they? Like, I don't want to.
Yeah.
I can't explain to you enough, like how much. You don't matter. I don't want to say you don't matter. But I promise you're not the main character in an improv show.
They're professionals. They know how to read audience members. If someone is very obviously uncomfortable with being picked on, they're not going to sit there and...
Not to mention, they very rarely go back to the same person. Like,
yeah,
if you do
really
get picked on...
pick on people.
Unless you continuously and are doing part of the show, like, unless you're continuously yelling out answers, and that would be somebody who would probably want a front row seat.
Right.
You'll probably be fine.
So I would say, like, one of my pet peeves is coming in and being like, and I don't even really believe it. It's like a fake timid where I'm like, you're making kind of a huge deal about this. It kind of sounds like you do want to talk to them.
But then on the other side of that, the people like when they get up from their seat, we're like, oh, you can cross theater to exit, go into the lobby. They get on stage, which is fine. That's how you cross in this theater. You have to get on stage, and as soon as they get on stage, they'll like start performing for their friends a little bit. And that's like a red flag of being like, oh god, these people are gonna be loud in this show.
I see this. The what doesn't bother me is when someone's like, "Oh, can I sit in the second row?" For me, that's completely situational, depending on what's happening for seating.
True, it depends on how they say it, but true.
But like, if I say no, I don't know.
Or
man.
if they come in like 2 minutes before the show starts and they're like, "We were really hoping for like front row."
Get there.
Take a fucking look around you.
Get there.
I have 40 seats left, and they're all in the nosebleeds.
Third row, dude.
Straight up. So what's your pet peeve?
I would say my biggest pet peeve, and I know it can be difficult, is incomplete large parties or people who walk in and do not tell you their seat, because everyone wants to sit with their friends. Like we get that. We not necessarily want that for you, but we're not gonna get in our way. So if you're like a party of like 11 and you all come in individually and then from across the theater in the middle of the show start yelling out to your friends, it's kind of just like, well,
it's a rough go.
We could have made this happen.
Or even worse, like, how many people are in your party? Because before we can seat you, someone at the main door is going to ask how many total, and then kind of flash that number at one of the ushers who's seating so that we can figure out, like, Tetris-wise, where does that number work the best so that we don't have empty seats. Sorry, I'm going twice. My pet peeve.
I've got many pet peeves.
How do you not know the number? If I ask you how many are in your group and you're like, 5 or 6, go back and come back when you're ready, man. Honestly, I'm ready. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Get here. Like, if you can. It's going to be hard for some people, but generally bring everybody.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. If I was to say, like, a main pet peeve, it's when... It's like when you're going when someone's waiting in a vestibule. Like, so we have vestibules on 2 sides of the theater where we vegetables. We have 2 vegetables on either side of the theater. That's where we hold people before we have them enter the theater during a show. So if they come out for the restroom or something, when I look at a group and I'm like, I trust you guys. I'm gonna bring in the vegetable. I'm gonna bring in the vestibule. And, you know, I'm thinking you're going to be quiet. It'll be good. And then I'll cross you. And then they start talking. They're like, oh, look at that. Oh, it sounds funny. It's like, I'm trying to get you guys as quick as possible, but it's not going to work.
To your seat. So you can see the show.
Oh, yeah.
I would say another big thing is, like, read a sign. Like,
ooh,
like
David.
Reading's difficult.
The expectations. I understand that you're of a certain caliber of a person.
I understand. You can read. You're literate. I understand.
Something in the cocktails we serve at IAA, people cannot read.
Henry's pour.
All right. I wanted to hear some of your pet peeves. I want people to get to know us. Alison, so your pet peeve, just to reiterate, your pet peeve was people.
I don't even remember.
I don't even remember.
Just show up and be better.
Show up and be a good person.
Be better. Know how many people in your party. Show
mine.
up. Fun.
Yeah. Okay, I want to end this episode. I hope you've enjoyed listening. If you have listened so far, congratulations. It's impressive.
I think
you're still here.
What's more impressive, I think context is important. I think we should let the people know that we do have a shift starting in like 4 hours.
That's true. We have a shift starting very soon.
For this podcast, for you, for the people, we did smoke, and some of us that are of age have had a beer just to.
Yeah. That I'm not of age.
You know, do you know what? It'd be cool if we were able to sometime in the future, once if we get this going a little bit. It'd be cool to see if the theater would allow us, like, 3 comps for a show.
Hey.
To say, like, hey, if you're listening and you come to
Oh,
the theater
yeah, I
and
like
you say
that.
this, I can get you these 3 comps for that show.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think it'd be cool. I think it could work.
Hell yeah.
Anyways, we want to end the show this episode how I hope we're gonna end all the episodes. That's with bold predictions for this weekend. I want every week one of the predictions to just be a high-low on how many times dildo is used as a suggestion. If you haven't been to a lot of improv shows, or if you haven't performed a lot of improv, you might not know that when you ask an audience for an object, 8 out of 10 times, the first thing you'll get is a person yelling dildo. Right?
Or if we're feeling creative, vibrator.
Vibrator,
Yeah.
dildo. So I could say we could do a vibrator / dildo high-low. So pick a number, we can choose, will it be that number, will it be high, or will it be lower? And then the losers have some sort of punishment. What can that punishment be?
So we're going to have, there's 2 shows tonight, 3 shows tomorrow. So we're doing this over 5 shows.
Right.
I think we're going to get 7 dildos.
I was thinking
7 dildos, really?
I was thinking 6.
Okay.
6.
Yeah.
6,
Okay.
7.
I would say at least 1 per show with a couple extras.
6, 7. So I'm thinking like 5.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
Can I
So,
explain,
but
let me
what
explain my
is-
7,
yeah.
though. Here's the logic behind the 7. If you're the person who screams dildo, first of all, shout out to you. Thank you for your service.
Thank you.
You're neat.
You're usually a very enthusiastic person.
Yeah,
so
and you
fine.
probably tip well, so
Probably
thank you
tip.
for
Yeah, true.
that. Not that we get
Not that ushers or managers get. That's all you bartenders.
But if you're someone who's calling out dildo and it doesn't get picked as a suggestion, 100% of the time you're gonna scream
yelling
dildo
again.
again.
That's
Easily.
fair.
So
That's
I'm
fair.
gonna guess 1 per show, and for a couple shows, I'm gonna guess some repeats. A couple repeats. That's the logic behind it.
So let's say this. We're gonna put the over under at let's do 5 dildos.
Okay.
So you could choose. Will it be 5 dildos? So are you gonna choose right on, over, or under? So
Okay.
I'm going
over,
I'm taking
over.
the hard over.
I'm going under.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm going under 5 dildos.
Makes
actually.
someone-
It has been a. Well, I mean, are you on bar or not?
I'm on bar
Well,
this
we'll
whole
be
weekend.
on.
I will be.
Honor
Going,
system.
I'll be going over.
So let me know. Keep track of those dildos.
We will. I'm on it. Yeah. There's one thing I take
I always
seriously.
keep
It's
track
my
of my dildo.
job, and I will be on the dildo count like you wouldn't believe.
All right. Okay. Also,
Predictions.
let's
for the
all do
weekend.
one bold prediction for this weekend.
So as we're recording this, it's January 14th. January 15th,
Yeah.
City of Boston is bringing into effect the requirement that patrons show us a Vax card that matches their government
That's
issued
tomorrow?
ID.
Yep.
That starts tomorrow, and it starts tomorrow. And just based on how some people react to being asked to put on a mask, which those are actually officially the worst fucking people. It's the
Yeah.
people who give you a hard time about that.
Yeah.
Sure.
Given how much pushback we tend to get about masks, I expect at least 1 party or person per night to show up and be turned away at the door because they're not vaccinated and get absolutely pissed.
Yeah, that was gonna be mine. Was I think when that starts Saturday, I guarantee you I will have to deal with a couple. What the fuck do you mean there's a
Yeah.
vaccine
Yeah.
mandate?
Yeah.
Oh, jeez, okay.
So how many? Maybe we should do an over under on that.
God, I don't want
we
to
have
jinx
fucking
it.
might-
but
might
I think
as
it's going
well.
to be 1 per night starting
1 per
for the
night.
first week.
1 per night.
Yeah.
Well, I guess we only have 1 night that we're counting.
Yeah,
you think there's going to be
starts
one
Saturday.
person turned away.
No, that throws a fit. I think we're gonna probably turn away at least one per
okay.
show.
Altercate,
But
yeah,
I think
right.
Let me speak to your manager.
It'll be in the night report.
Yeah.
I can also agree on that. So let's just say we're gonna bet that or predict that happens. At least one thing.
Yeah.
What do we do if it doesn't happen?
If that doesn't happen, I'm gonna get extremely high after shift in celebration.
That doesn't
We're
sound
gonna
like a
celebrate.
punishment.
Okay, what's your bold prediction, David? Did we establish?
Like I don't every night.
Do we establish a punishment for the dildo?
No, I don't think
No.
so. Okay,
Well-
we have to work dildo into a conversation with a patron. That's totally doable.
Doable.
It's happened to me before where they've come up to me and been like, you hear me yell dildo?
It's totally do. I think that's it. If we're wrong, you were under 5, we're both over 5.
Yeah. Under 5. You're both over 5.
A losing team has to bring dildo up in a conversation with a patron. Figure it out.
If you're at box, you have to be like, oh, good 3 of you? All right, dildo?
Wait, how do you? Is it DILDO? For clarification, we ask for people's names at the box office to find their tickets.
That sounds good to me. We can do that.
Okay, hell yeah.
Sick. So, what's your bold prediction for this
My
weekend?
bold prediction. Well, that way you kind of stole.
That's a perfect
I'm
one.
sorry.
Right out of my.
Yeah.
What can I say?
If you want,
We're on
I
the
can.
same wave.
I can go.
Yeah,
first
go
if
ahead.
you want.
Come back.
Okay. My bold prediction is this weekend. I think we're gonna have one. I think we're gonna have one sick person, like someone's gonna vomit in an inappropriate place,
First
or
of all,
have
how
to
dare you
run.
speak that into existence?
I know.
These new predictions can we get a positive prediction, please?
We just haven't had it in a while, and I
Haven't
think
had
people have had enough weekends after Thanksgiving to be, New Year's to be like,
Yeah.
New Year's resolution.
I'm ready to come back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So people are ready to come back and drink because they're realizing January's sad and cold.
Yep.
Right, all life is suffering.
Yes.
So
Yeah. It was so gray out when I walked when I went here.
yeah, but our hope for the new year is already dwindling. Just another weekend, people come get fucked up.
So I think we're gonna have at least one person that, whether it's rushing to the bathroom or God forbid in the theater, we have had to deal with.
It's either going to be in the
gonna be a
theater
long
or
one.
in the small trash can in the single stall bathroom.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
I would say
that's my bold prediction.
mine is
Yeah.
actually going to be a positive one.
Hell yeah, somebody bring it.
So for me, in my long tenure at IA, I would say the people who hate me the most are slightly, a little bit above middle-aged white women. Hate
Really?
the hell out of me.
Okay.
They don't like me.
It's because
I
you're a
think-
free spirit, dude.
Oh yeah. They really like to bring me down. I think I'm gonna get along with one this weekend.
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna bridge that gap.
Dude, I'm gonna disagree where they mostly dislike. I think there's no tepid feeling that older, a little slightly above middle-aged white women have for you. They either really dislike you, or they're trying to fuck you.
Yeah.
Let me clarify. Let me explain for people who don't know what David looks like or behaves like. David is the kid that, as a mother, you meet and you're like, oh, this kid's around the same age as my college-aged daughter. And then you interact with him and you're like, for the love of God, you are not allowed to date my daughter.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You're
I'm
welcome.
very nice.
So it's either that or sexual tension because they're down.
I would like to say I love my girlfriend very much.
We love Sarah. I'm not saying they'd ever be successful.
No.
I'm explaining that.
Yeah, so-
No, you remind older women of their husbands when they were young and nice.
Whoa.
I'll take it. I would say I either get numbers from 65-year-old women or the very awkward, I'll have about a 14-year-old girl come up and give me her phone number on a
Nice.
napkin.
So you have fans. I like that.
Yeah. Have you guys ever got so you've got numbers
Yeah,
at the
I've got
theater?
numbers.
You've definitely got a number at the
Absolutely
theater.
not. No one is interested.
Not to dunk on Alison.
You had to
Wait,
give you a full backpack.
I've been asked for my number from girls around my age that are doing
That was
the
last night.
Yeah, I know. Okay, I look super gay. For those of you who don't know what I look like, I have a buzz cut. I just give off the vibe. Straight girls at the theater love to give me their number.
Yeah.
And it's
Damn.
like, okay, I mean...
Yeah.
I would also, this has crossed my mind. You made me sound way cooler than I ever actually
You're
was
welcome.
or am.
You're welcome. You're like the chicken from Surf's Up.
The chicken from Surf's Up.
Go look it up. Or the turtle from Finding Nemo.
Yeah.
I would fucking love
You're a
it.
stoner kid, okay? That's what it
Alright.
is.
It's surfer vibe,
Big
man.
I
chillin'.
don't, nor have I ever smoked with it.
And I'm sure IA does not endorse anything
No,
we've
nothing,
ever said.
nothing.
No.
This podcast has nothing to do with
It
any
is in
official
no way
improv
affiliated
style.
with IA.
Improv asylum.
We have just chosen to do it.
Maybe we should have put that in the first 30 seconds
Oh,
instead of at
no.
the end.
The what is said on this podcast does not reflect the thoughts of opinions of the front of house of
It's-
IA, even though
No.
these
It's
are the thoughts.
We're not actually ushers. We are just playing characters.
Right.
Very convincing.
I'm Norm, actually.
In real life, we are humble servants of comedy.
Humble servants of comedy. I'll get a tattoo of that. All right.
That should be-
Is there anything else you want to talk about before we wrap this up? I think we've gone pretty long.
Yeah, I think I'm good.
We've had a lot to talk.
I'm getting a little sick of the two of you, so.
All right.
I'm kind of done with
Alright.
this. So, all right. Well, if you've been listening this whole time,
Big shout out to
yeah,
you.
big
wow.
shout out to you. Let us know who you are so we can say your name in the next show because that's
If you're on staff, I don't know if it counts.
No, it doesn't count.
no.
It doesn't count if we sent you a link to this.
If we're listen to this or else. No, but thank you for listening. If you've listened the whole time, we're gonna continue to make these. Next week we're gonna be coming back with some thoughts about the weekend, our highs, our lows, how those predictions turned out. We're also gonna be having one of our Usher co-workers on for an interview. I believe we're probably gonna have Ryan, right? Ryan.
Hulk.
Flynn.
Hey,
The Hulk.
Oh
our
yeah,
boy.
the Hulk. He's the keg master, the man
Himself,
that can
yeah.
raise a keg above his head. And the nicest, probably one of the nicest people
Oh,
I've
yeah.
ever met.
Yeah.
He's awesome. All right. Well, my name's Henry.
I'm Alison. Don't make me
I'm
say my
David.
first name out loud.
Got David. Thanks for listening. We'll hopefully we'll see you next week.
Hey.